Jürgen. So I will share my screen and just share the presentation. So hi everyone. As you probably all know me, I'm not new to project logistics and shipments of heavy and oversized cargo. When I first started this project just under 5 years ago, it was exactly to solve the problems that all of you also face. Of course, we have come a long way, all of us, in the understanding of how important digital solutions are to everyday shipping. When I first spoke of launching Shipnext 3 years ago, it was that everybody said, okay, no platforms will ever replace people, to finally an understanding that platforms are there to make people stronger. Shipping industry, as it's called, but it's just a sector of the transportation industry, is very much dependent on the speed. As you know, we even have two versions of English. We have the long and the short version of English, and that was just done in the hopes of becoming faster in communication. And then in the 90s, when the whole industry moved from telex and fax onto email, the shipping industry, as it's called, has been nothing else but millions of emails and messages circulated and circulated around the world in the hope to find shipping solutions. So those emails contain freight related information, requests, orders, ship positions, information, in many cases just repeated information, please send me the vessel's description, and so on. You have, of course, an industry which is too much dependent on data. And this is the only industry so far where brokers feel vulnerable because they always have to be faster and better in terms of finding this information. And so when we first launched this platform, we call it the marketplace, but in fact, it also was taken as a threat in the beginning by customers who said, okay, marketplace means you're going to be stand naked in front of everyone in the room, and everyone will see your cargo. And in fact, a lot of things have changed since then. Not only were we not about that, but also the industry understands that, okay, it's not impossible now to hide where your ship is, and everybody knows if it's going somewhere in ballast or laden. All that information today is available. To a greater extent, the market is more or less transparent, but the problem remains. It's the amount of data. So when we first launched this project, we were hoping to solve the main problem. So, how to find the best shipping solution for any cargo, regardless of its size, shape, quantity, or destination. And the problem consists of several parts. So there's, of course, too much data to handle. There is too many emails, mixed communication, and fraud. When I talk about mixed communication, of course, I speak not only of brokers, but also of different other parties you have to come across in the search for shipping solutions. You sometimes have jokes that say, okay, it's whenever a cargo is on the market, sometimes a restaurant across the road calls you, saying, okay, what is this email we received from you? Brokers today came to the understanding that they are professionals. Some companies can simply not afford to hire some of these professionals internally, and some use them just for extra expertise. So more or less like with lawyers, you can have an in-house lawyer, but you would certainly want to include staffed or independent lawyers to help you in several particular sectors. So this is how the understanding of brokers today is. These are traders, but believe it or no, ever since the beginning of let's say digitalization with the move to emails, these traders have no platform to work with, and shipping is the only industry, or transport is the only industry that remains without a platform, or remain until the platform until now. But there are also direct losses. So we this is already a proven fact that most of the day your managers, and I see all of you here from very big companies that not only are in forwarding, but also have brokering teams, and they are involved in not only project cargo, but bulk. So your managers, your chartering managers, are stuck the whole day behind their computer screens. And believe it or not, about 65% of their time is spent on reading emails, and 20% more time on the search for data. Of course, when I say emails, I also mean messages. Today, we have a lot of communication platforms like WhatsApp, Skype, and so on. And that doesn't make things easier, because sometimes you spend time looking for where exactly was that message, and that data, was it in WhatsApp that I received it or by email? And also you spend up to 3 days in the search for these solutions. Just to prove this statistic, the 3 days, you probably all know Flexport. And Flexport announced themselves as a digital forwarder 3 to 4 years ago. And in fact, pivoted. They pivoted means that they changed completely their strategy. So first they said they are digital forwarder, then they failed to become a digital forwarder. But although they got funded, they raised about $3 billion because of that. Then they became a regular forwarder, and now they are a platform, so a transportation platform. But before they did, their website said, okay, we will get back to you in 72 hours. And 72 hours is exactly that time that it regularly, usually takes to find a solution and come back to your client. And of course, you will lose on commissions on freight up to 5%. Again, it doesn't mean that you are cutting out brokers, but some brokers are copy-paste brokers. And look, I know this from my history in shipping. Sometimes you work with one company, for example, a large forwarder, and a large forwarder can have 7 different offices or 25 different offices, and each chartering manager has a completely different agenda, different priorities, different white list or carrier lists, and he is a boss on his own. Has sometimes no understanding of what the priorities of the company is, and just follows his own agenda. So sometimes a shipping company can fix the same account, same forwarding company through completely different channels, and there could be 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 brokers in between, just by coincidence, just because a chartering manager or a forwarding company could not find that email in time. And it was the broker who was more persistent, and so on. So a lot of money spent, but also just inefficient solution search. Or sometimes you spend more time looking for a solution, and by the time you find the right one, find no other, the right one may be gone. The solution we launched is a platform. It's patented. It's a patented process. So when I moved from Varamar onto Shipnext, it was a unique opportunity. I had my own funding. I had my own team. I took in a very professional data scientist. She's a mathematician, PhD, but also a shipping professor. So I had all the missing, all this parts of the secret sauce to make the solution, and it's patented. And the reason for making it was to solve all the problems I had in the shipping company and a project, let's say, carrier. And the problems were that I saw up to 8,000 emails received a day from different clients, forwarders, brokers, shippers. My managers, and by that time I had 16 of them, were just drowning in that. So regardless of their experience and age, they could only give 5 to 6, maybe 7 offers per day, because they needed to read all the emails, then get only those that are more or less of interest, try to collect the data, calculate intake, check for whatever ships are in position. That can be either a long or a very long process, and then calculate all the costs and come back with a rate. You all face the same, because you as forwarders are carriers to your client. So I speak of completely identical problems. So a lot of customers went without response, and you cannot afford to sit and send all the other 95% of the people who write to you a response saying, sorry, we cannot help you, sorry, we cannot come back with a rate, or we didn't find a solution. But the problem gets worse with more people, with further growth. The more managers you have, the more emails you receive, the more requests you receive. Sometimes new customers send you a request, but just because you have no time to respond, they simply remain without response. So our solution was based on the fact that I understood that by that time, with Google's help and other technology, processing of emails was already much faster and more professional, done by algorithms, by a computer, to a greater extent than by people. Because usually, what the managers do are they first read the subject line. If they find it more interesting and the primary data is there, then they go into the inside of the email. And so they just continuously spend time doing this all over again. So this was something that I thought should not be done by people anymore, because these are your most highly paid professionals. They are chartering brokers, managers, commercial managers. So they should not be wasting your time, their time, and they should be more productive. They should be speaking and spending time visiting clients and not reading useless email. So at the end, Shipnext is a platform that uses AI, artificial intelligence. And when I say this, I mean natural language processing and machine learning to process emails and shipping data, to help you with freight search, to help you with trade, and automation or digitalization of workflow. And this is the definition that we use today. So, of course, the interconnectivity is the major part of it. It can be connected to your email flow, your WhatsApp and your Skype IDs, corporate IDs. It doesn't mean that it takes information, private information, like who is going out with whom, but it only looks at open positions. It looks at freight requests. It looks at at orders and at freight quotations. That's all it looks at. And the flow we have today is huge. I mean, it's just literally impossible to even concentrate on one particular message that is processed by Shipnext, because we have over 100,000 emails and messages processed each day. So, and of course, all the other data like satellite data, port data, you can add whatever you want to customize it further. So we have one of the largest companies using Shipnext is IFCOR. By coincidence, 3 years ago, IFCOR was one of the worst enemies of Shipnext, because they are one of the largest brokers, and they thought platforms are there to kill brokers. And until a year ago, when they actually became partners. So they understood throughout these 3 years that shipping is changing. And so you have to be more flexible, faster, and better, and more efficient at what you do. And so, interconnectivity can also help you customize it, putting your own data, your historic data, your operational data in it. The more data there is, the better is the algorithm. So, and the solution that we initially launched, it's becoming more and more advanced, is a flow where you have cargo or orders on the one hand side. It could be your cargo, your clients' orders and requests, and you have all the best shipping solutions on the right hand side. This is simply said, but just to quickly explain the process, the algorithm reads all these, and probably I should just switch to the live demo so that you see it in live. The process includes a live stream of emails that are properly structured and processed, regardless of how complicated they are. For companies that are large, I will demonstrate it on my Varamar account so that I show you, like, let's say the actual requests that come in. And here on the left hand side, you have all the incoming requests. They are categorized in different colors. So if it's your cargo, it's green. If it's received from your client, it's blue. If it's market cargo and it's circulated around and onto Shipnext as well, then it's white. So you see that a minute ago somebody sent a request to Varamar that contains cargo and this is an original message that it's taken from and already instantly you have the shipping solution. Sometimes there are more, sometimes there are less, but of course the goal is to have it instant and to have you instantly find the best and the available shipping solutions this way. And this was the initial goal, and we've achieved it 3 years ago. And ever since, we have grown and developed new solutions on top of it. And I would just like to show you these one by one. But the process did reduce. This process did reduce the time it takes to find a shipping solution down to seconds. So if initially you receive a cargo, you look at the cargo, the packing list, the maximum weight, maximum size, maximum height of the unit, for example, if we are talking about project cargo, and then you look for, you start drafting a message to carriers. Please, I'm looking for this. Look, pay attention. There is a 200-ton unit. There is this 50-meter long unit. It's all on the deck. And then you start checking and asking them for a vessel's description. You start looking at the hatch size, or they are starting to look at the hatch size. And then, collecting all this data now is instant. So the algorithm helps you. Of course, you can make manual searches and you can recheck that. But the algorithm does help you look at the available facilities in ports, available facilities on the ship, the size, the hatch, the holder sizes, dimensions, and it helps you with this instant search. And that was our primary goal. And the process is, so first you connect, you customize your platform, and this is where we gladly approached EPN, Jürgen, and I said, look, because you're trying to build this network, you have this year as a let's say goodwill gesture, and I would like your members to use this year to see whether or not you guys can build a very strong network where you can combine your buying power, especially now in the time of a high market. You can probably combine your buying power. You can build your logic around this platform, because this is how we scale and grow. We not only invite everybody to Shipnext and as a centralized, driving seat or a control tower, but each of our customers is free to build on top of what we build. We invite them not to start reinventing the bicycle, spending millions of dollars on creating an algorithm that processes emails or connects all this satellite data, AIS data, and vessels description, but to build on top of it. Use it as a sandbox, build your idea about it, and this could be anything. So look at it as a platform that could be, and it's actually now tested by Maersk, because they have a project division and they would like to see whether with the logo of Maersk there, they can white label it and they can let their customers use it as a way to communicate with Maersk. It's also used by brokers that also try to see whether they can allow their customers as a broker to have access to documents, to have access only to shipped data, only to port data, and so on. So this is a way to collaborate with your customers as well. In this case, like with the case of EPN, and in this case, EPN is basically becoming our reseller. I see that this is a good possibility for your network to become better if you come up with your own idea, at least by onboarding your, let's say, your standard charter party, to building up your, rating to carriers or vessels, by building up your buying power around it, holding or exchanging information within this platform. Then, of course, the second part is that you can use all the features, and you have continuous every week, every 2 weeks, we have new updates, new features coming out. And as Jürgen just said, the container part also allows you to not only to look for container freight, and we have agreements for that with some carriers, but of course, you know that forwarders themselves can exchange rates. But what the advantage of our approach to containers will be is that if the cargo is potentially, and that is seen from your packing list, that is seen from the cargo you want to ship, can be potentially containerized, Shipnext will suggest what are the combination of containers, and we are now that you need to ship this cargo. And we are now well, discussing interconnectivity with 3 platforms that are only centralized on finding open containers. So what you will get is, if you have a cargo which can at all be containerized, you will get a solution of containers that to be used to ship it, and also the suggestion of where you can get those containers as well. So the last remaining bit is basically getting the rate, and there are also ways to go about. You can also use your your agreed rates with carriers, or get them uploaded from or through Shipnext from carriers. So this is our approach to containers from the beginning, and this is very important. From the beginning, there are 2 things that many platforms got wrong, and this is this, I think, is one of our reasons for our success. First of all, there were platforms that only centralized or only thought that they should only do dry bulk, or sometimes only containers, but they are missing an important factor. That shipping is so diverse. As you know, today there are Cape-size vessels carrying containers, there are containers carrying project cargo, there are container lines carrying heavy and oversized units. There is no that border. That border doesn't exist. Shipping is so diverse, and it's becoming even more diverse. As you know, Oldendorf is one of the largest project carriers, because they just fix upfront, years upfront, their deck full of wind blades. So there is no border between dry bulk, break bulk, or containerized cargo. Moreover, 85% of cargo is never containerized. It's just never containerized. And so, limiting yourself as a forwarder, as a carrier, to just a container trade, just a dry bulk trade, is very short-sighted. Another reason for not having this border between bulk and project cargo, and why only now do we approach containers, is exactly, it's all about digitalization. So the word digitalization means it's connected to algorithms. Algorithms are basically mathematical functions. For a mathematical function, and I try to explain it very easily, but it doesn't matter what the shape of the cargo is. When you talk about the mathematical formula, it's one cargo shipped from one port of loading on one vessel to another port of loading. This is the simplest mathematical algorithm when choosing what's the best solution to ship a certain cargo. And this is just dry bulk. When we talk about project cargo, we are talking about multiple ports of loading or places of loading on one vessel to possibly multiple ports of discharge. And this is break bulk. Containers is another phase where you have thousands of cargoes from hundreds of places of loading. Potentially that could be possible, of course, on one vessel to hundreds of places of discharge. This is just simple said, but it should tell you why containers is not simple. A container is not even the last phase. Then we go into LCL, and only then we go into last mile. So if you want really to have a platform that is based on real-time data, not just data, but real-time data, and to analyze and use this big data and help you be super efficient based on this data, you cannot skip these phases, and you have to come from the simple model to the most fast and complicated model, where you have thousands of cargoes, for example, to be redistributed all over the world. And that was our path. So now, if you have questions, you can put it in the communication box there. But I will just briefly run through the main solutions that we have today, and then I'll be open for questions. So the trading desk is our main solution, as you understand. It doesn't change the way market works. It helps you be very, very flexible between who you are, what your role is. Are you a broker, or are you a forwarder, or a trader, or a shipper, or a carrier, or a ship owner? You can offer on any cargo you receive. You can send a request on any cargo you want to any carrier or a broker that represents that carrier. And once again, your image here will be based on your email flow if you choose to connect your email flow. And we, of course, we promote this connectivity with your email flow, because you get both the market data and your data mixed in one. and once again, there are customers that also connect their Skype because a lot of requests and a lot of cargoes received by Skype, WhatsApp, optionally as well. Cargo Monitor allows you to track. Oh, sorry. Once again, I also forgot to mention that Shipnext also offers a reverse tendering possibility. So any cargo that you show here, you can build up your carrier list. Every time you put up a cargo, it will only be, for example, optionally be only available to only the companies on your white list. So it doesn't mean that, again, Shipnext is all about your cargo to be seen all around the world. You determine who sees your cargo. It can only be, for example, yourself. But the advantage is that you can connect all your overseas offices, and they all see one stream of cargoes, one stream of all the ships data they receive all around the world. So there will be no instance where your manager sitting in Japan, for example, will not see what the guy sitting in Antwerp or Hamburg has, and vice versa. But again, this also allows you to build up your carrier list, and you can use it as a reverse tendering solution. Or you can offer your clients to hold, if you're a broker, let's say, to hold these reverse tenders for them. Cargo Monitor allows you to see deeper into statistics, to monitor how many requests you received, how many requests have been answered. You can even place filters. So, for example, if you have divisions concentrating on different trade lanes, on different cargo sizes, you can determine these filters, and you can easily see statistics. Okay, on this trade lane, we are receiving 5 times less requests than on that one. All of these have been answered. All of those have not been answered. What is the reason? Why is this manager giving 5 quotations and that one is giving 20 quotations, for example? So all that is possible. And again, it's because we decrypt emails. We see exactly what is this cargo, what is the ports of loading, what are the ports of discharge. All that data about cargoes and clients is then used in this statistics as well. And you can send reminders. For example, you can send quotes and then remind your customer to come back on this quote. So it's all about automating this process. It's part of CRM, but it's also a bit of reporting here. Again, Cargo Monitor also, and this feature is only available to 2 customers at the moment. It's a tailor-made process. When we first made it for one of the steel producers, it's a possibility to track, basically offer a supply chain solution for your customer or for yourself. So once a cargo is booked and you appoint a vessel, it basically helps you use the real-time data we receive from satellites, from AIS, into building a kind of a Gantt chart. Where's your cargo now, and when is it going to arrive? And if it's stopped, you will see it immediately. Each box here opens into a day, and you can populate daily information into that box. Fleet Monitor is, on the other hand, working with vessels. So you have three panels to that. You have the all fleet part. All fleet allows you to see all the vessels in the world. It also allows you to see all the sanctions and compliance checks, all the port state control inspections. So you have all that data put in either digitally or manually. So it's all very reliable. It's taken from actual compliance lists, sanction lists, and port state control memorandums of understanding, as you perhaps may know, and of course it has all the background of each vessel, where it has been in the last 20 ports. What was its path? What is the past name? And in most of the cases, speed and consumption figures as well. And you can, of course, put in additional information, attachments, and all that remains with you. But you also have My Fleet part, which means you can build up your fleet list, only the vessels that you are interested in, and work with that. And eventually, well, we needed to use this because this is yet again information that we receive and decrypt from emails. It's S&P fleet. So there's S&P fleet part, but it also, for some of you could be a very interesting solution, because either you are interested yourself in this, or, for example, sale, vessels for sale could also be a very good way to ship your cargo during this last voyage. Port data. This is one way to one more way to build up a stronger network. At the moment, the way this works is we have all the real-time information on all ports. Its restrictions, its facilities, so maximum crane capacity, description, basic description. At the moment, we have behind the scene we have all the port DAs, which are I will show you further in the calculator. It also has all the service providers, those that registered themselves on Shipnext. And this is where I wanted to point out that, for example, for EPN, you can build up your network. So if you have one company or two companies per country, you can literally show your own network contacts in that section. And then you also have of course, the map, the lineup, the weather forecast, and the cargoes which you have on your platform to and from this port. The calculator, it has the bunker prices, speed and consumption figures of each vessel. You can use these vessels or vessel types in seeing, okay, how is the calculation for this vessel coming out? What is the rate that you offered? Is it matching today's market rate? For US forwarders, this could be just an additional tool. Maybe it's not really something you do every day, but if you have to fix a full vessel charter, you can easily use this to cross-check, are you not overpaying? And of course, you can see all the port DAs. You still need a liner in, liner out cost because you guys are all in project logistics to the greater extent. So that still should be added on top. The freight matrix is the only part, only solution of this presentation, which is just in the making. So we are now shortly launching this. This is our attempt to use predictive analytics in freight estimates. And we have a number of shippers, brokers that signed up for this as well. They also help us bring this live. So imagine our algorithm processing all these vessel data and emails at a certain point. The email flow is critical. We have it from larger brokers, smaller brokers. So a lot of cargoes get repeated and filtered out. We can somehow see that at a certain point there is much more vessels concentrated in a certain category, for example, heavy lift vessels, than the amount of cargoes that are being circulated from that area for shipment. And of course, as you know, sometimes it says, okay, indication only or firm. So that all information is also taken into consideration in these models, of course. But you can see, you will be able to see whether if you delay this shipment further, the freight will go up or will it go down. And this is our primary use case. And of course, for bulk trade, within the 2 months, you can be more or less accurate, especially with Panamax and Cape. But of course, further on, up to half a year, that is then based on FFA, so on future forward freight agreements. And you can build up your matrices and work with, mainly again, it's for commodity trade, but also for heavy lift cargo, it could be a valuable tool. Shipnext Connect is our solution to connect your email flows. For example, like Gmail, Sedna, they have a separate panel designed by Shipnext, launched by Shipnext. So customers that use Sedna and Gmail, LGMAR, for example, for Greece, they do not have to go out of their email. So if they're really, really stubborn and they just want to continue using emails, they can. And they can do this instant cargo to ship and ship to cargo matching using our panel. Documentation, this is where we also welcome you and let's say the network and also you as larger forwarders to come up with your charter party if you like. Again, this is a very important step. We think, we see a lot of mistakes and losses made by companies that do not use this. I know it as a fact as a carrier, and I know it as a fact now that how companies struggle or let's say how they struggle coming up with their charter party, using the buying power and building up a carrier list from start, onboarding them, on their charter party terms. Maybe today's shipping market is not the best time for this, but okay, this is an opportunity lost, but it doesn't mean that it will be there forever. And especially now, as you are part of one network, this could be a good moment to unite and use your buying power to push through your charter party terms. Again, this is our recommendation, adding another charter party here. And this means that you can copy paste the recap if it came by email, or you can, if you use really our negotiation tools, it's just being built automatically and then migrated into the bill of lading. And so documentation part is all about this digital documentation flow. We've just been awarded as top 10 projects by European Commission. And we are discussing further use of blockchain technology in case you need then to connect it to your payment system, use electronic bill of lading. For some, it already is something they're working on. So we decided to be part of this, change. Finally, CRM. Well, I already told you about our CRM steps, but this also allows you to give different access rights to your clients, or managers. Our settings and this panel that relates to settings is also being updated now with additional features where you can also work better with your team. You can see or track their work with the platform. Set up KPIs, for example, maybe on the amount of contracts they fix, or the amount of revenue they generate, or for example, by how much interactivity they have with this platform. Because, for example, for brokering companies, it's a very important step to start working with the platform. And of course, it depends on brokers putting in this data in the platform. So every data they collect, they have to understand that this is your company data. This is not their data. They're being paid a salary. They should use that data, put it into your platform. And this is very, very important. And just as a last slide is this white label. But before I wanted to complete this, and here you can define, of course, not only your colors and your logo, but as you all see, but you also can come up with your menu composition. Before I end this presentation, I wanted to also mention that indeed, I had a background. I have a background of being a shipping guy in projects, but I understood that there is a lot of data that even my company collects, Varamar collects, which should be shared. Some of the cargoes that we don't work that are received as spam is being shared. Our fleet managers, they collect information about vessels. They put it into Varamar's white label, and I made it that our customers also see that statuses of vessels, that information about vessels, because even for Varamar, it's not information that they have to hide, or it's available. It's just not available on any platform. So I agree to kind of blend these two data flows together, and again, for the advantage of our customers. And here on this call is Nat. Jürgen did introduce him. So Nathaniel Hutley is our new CCO. He just joined us. He's a Londoner, and he just joined us. He will be also the main point of contact on our project in our company, and you're also welcome to contact him and ask us any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alexander.
While you ask questions, I will go to a live demo, and maybe you can then have more ideas on your questions to ask.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you very much. Lots of information. Before we come to questions, I think what I suggest to everybody is really, you get, if you don't have it yet, you get the login data from us, and anybody can log himself into the system. And what I would really suggest is kind of play around with it, have a look to it, check the possibilities. That's the way I approach it, actually, because certainly there are so many possibilities and so many functions. Not all of them will be needed by us, so everybody has to find out for himself what is good what is needed and what is not needed, because as you can see, the range of possibilities is really very big. But I would say we start with questions.
Maybe somebody can read them out because I cannot see those.
You mean from the chat or what?
Yes, read them from the chat.
Yeah. Well,
no questions also it may also be good. That means everybody is satisfied and happy to start trying.
Everybody understood immediately, except Chaco, right?
Yeah. Hi. How are you?
Hello.
I'm good.
I'm Chaco. I'm from Oman. Jorgen, Marcelo, greetings from Oman.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. I must say this is a wonderful software, and I understand that. So this is a CRM. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a techie.
This is a what?
A CRM.
No, it's not a CRM. It's a let's say it's a platform. It's really a platform. Yeah, it's a platform. It has features that allow you to do some of the CRM functions, some of them, but it's not a CRM system. No.
Okay, and somewhere I get to understand that the program, this program, you can also link it to your emails, right?
Yes, you can process emails with it.
So for example, our company uses Google, for emails.
Yeah.
So if we say, for example, if we buy the system and if we have to link it to our emails, do you then get to read our emails, or do you get to? I'm talking this from security point of view.
Yeah. So the way it happens. Yeah. So actually, if you go, if you use Google, then you will have a panel. I will try to demonstrate it here if it doesn't take too long. So if I go onto the panel, I can start, let's say, processing emails from Google. So it's then your emails basically remain with Google, and Google uses our panel to process them without you sending them out. Okay. So see, I'm not a frequent user of this here, so I may not be demonstrating it that quickly. But basically, this is how it works. You should be able to see it on the right-hand side here in the panel. Yeah, as you can see here, right? And then you can basically do the cargo to ship matching right from here. And then as you click on a certain cargo or a vessel that you received, you can see the cargo which came by email into your inbox. So it's purely working with your email flow in this panel.
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, here's a coal cargo. I see I have no vessels in my email flow for it. I want to get solutions from Shipnext. I click on this, and in a couple of seconds, you will see a whole range of other vessels that are uploaded from Shipnext into this flow for this cargo to be carried. Well, if there aren't any, then that means there aren't any. You can make any other searches apart from this. But it may be that you will come up with the fact that for these days there are no ships in position. So if for example, if you find another vessel that may be thought to be or maybe offered to you, you may have to do an additional search into why is it offered and why is it not. So maybe it may run out of laycan, or may not be suitable for some reason. So our algorithm is quite advanced, so we really limit this short list for a reason.
Okay.
There is one question from Martin from England. You know, the British are always making things complicated. So he is asking, would it be possible to have a basic example using just an example inquiry from start to finish?
Yeah.
Can you do that, Alex?
Yeah.
Please.
So you know, you can do it several ways. You can add the cargo with a form. You can also do it by email, send it to fix@shipnext.com. But let's say if you use this form, you can use a simple form. For example, I don't know, Hamburg. You know, some people do this, you know, and then you say project cargo 4,000 tons, 8,500 cubics. Let's do that. Laken 23 30 September, shipment hard cargo. What else? Let's say CQD terms, GenCon, and then I don't know, you can put commission as well. And then you can say preview already or next, and then you can fill in the remaining parts, remaining fields. There are many fields to fill in. They're also dynamic. So, for example, if you are starting to fill in, for example, bulk cargo, it will allow, you know, if you are missing some data, you will have to add it. You have to go in and add this information. If it's CQD, it's okay. But if you, for example, have 2 days, you can add it additionally. And then next, if you have up, you know, for example, your terms and conditions that you want to use, you can use those that come from, for example, a contract with a certain client or with a certain carrier. Or fixed, you know, for a certain cargo, you can upload it, and here you have tick boxes that are filled in. You can also add additional terms and conditions, like you know, to be delivered by 1st November, and then you preview, and yeah, and then you send the request, and this is. Well, we just generated a cargo to be shown. Again, it's it will be matched to the best vessels in position. Here is the cargo. Oh, sorry, just clicked on that. So here is a list of probably, I don't know, 12, 14 vessels which are in position to carry this cargo. I mean, the stowage plan is not, of course, made on basis of this information, but it does show you the vessels which are capable of being in this position to carry this cargo. Now you go further and contact any of these companies, or, for example, I don't know, let's take this vessel, for example. You can contact any of these companies. These are the companies that, in this case, are either circulating this vessel in the market, or they send it to your inbox if your inbox is connected. So you are free to contact any of one of them. We have a chat feature. You can send them a freight request. You can send all of them a freight request in one click. Everything you do here remains in your cabinet, but also is duplicated by email. And by connecting your email to Shipnext, those requests, those messages are sent out from your email ID, from your email address.
Alex, if I remember well, when you showed it to me in Antwerp, there was a possibility even in the next step for that vessel you picked here, this Rep Star, to already get some kind of freight indication even, right?
Yeah, so we have an instant freight index, and this index is generated by Shipnext. It's a guidance. We are not yet, we are not yet selling this. You cannot book it at this index. So it's just there for. So let's say we go into or just filter out my cargo so that we work with that only, because you see the stream is big.
Yeah.
So let's say we work only with this cargo. There was, you know, I guess, well, it's not generated. I don't know why in this case it wasn't generated, but usually we do generate indexes as well. I will check as well why in this case it wasn't generated, but this index is something we are still fine-tuning and really perfecting. But these carriers have already received my cargo. If they are fast enough, they can already come and offer on this. If they want, each message that you receive, each request that you receive contains a link, and they can either send it to you by email, that offer, or they can follow the link and get to a free version of Shipnext and offer you on your cargo. So again, we of course promote forwarders to really try to centralize this around their own in their own organizations, where then all your managers, they will see what indications you received, what offers you received, and then you know, work from a tool like that. You can actually see even the sanctioned vessels. So now it's more transparent than before. You can see and make sure that you don't come across these, or be very careful when you do.
Yeah. Okay, Martin, is this okay for the moment? Martin?
Oh, forgive me, it was muted. Yeah, very helpful. I quite like that. I think the question I asked, everybody wanted to see just very simply, what do I do?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I log in. What details do I do? What do I type in? What areas do I populate? Where does that information go? What do I see back? Because it's quite overwhelming, as you say, the streams, there's a lot of information there, but as you break it down like this and you filter out the stuff that you don't need, yeah, I like it. I can see the interest already.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Again, for example, Martin, you can also, you know, with some clients, maybe you collect their data by EDI. You know, today emails and messages is not the only way you receive cargo. You can sometimes you have to participate in tenders. So you can connect your tender and with your login and your password to this platform, because we see that, you know, carriers and forwarders, they have to jump through numerous platforms and tendering systems throughout the day. You don't have to do this anymore. You can just connect it in this flow and offer here, and that offer will go into that tender if it's not too complicated. For example, connecting your customers' EDI, you know, maybe they have a production or a production portal or some kind of a commercial, you know, overview of what they plan to ship. You can connect that, so you don't have to, you know, collect it by email and work with emails.
Sorry, just one last quick question.
Yeah.
So I've populated my data. The inquiries got into the section on the left, the cargo bit, and then the section on the right, which is obviously the vessels that are capable of carrying that particular cargo. At this point, my inquiry's not gone to the vessel owners right now.
No.
Right, and then at this point, then I select, oh, I like the look of this vessel, I like the look of this guy, and then I manually send the inquiry. So it doesn't just go automatically now.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Perfect. And as Jürgen correctly mentioned, we are going to containerize trade. So here, of course, you have the vessels. Below, you will have the liner services. So it will be in the different color category. And you will see that, for example, this cargo, well, not probably this 30,000 tons is too much, but just yesterday I saw a cargo which is 11,000 tons, and shipping it in containers from continent to Asia was already half the freight of a dry bulk vessel. So you will see all those opportunities here as well. That's the idea. So you see at you know, the speed at which your managers should be able to work. And one more thing which I promote is that, and this is also something I see, that you should not. First of all, you will be able to handle many more inquiries, but you should also understand that sometimes, you know, your customers may have different inquiries. They not only work on a certain trade at certain size all the time. And what we see today with smaller and medium-sized brokering companies, they are not capable of covering all market segments. So sometimes they lose a client because the client doesn't want to go to different brokers, for example, for different questions. They just want one broker to be capable of helping them in all instances. And this is our, let's say, our aim.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. In between Chaco from Oman, Alex, can you please contact him separately because he would like to have a separate chat between his IT team, himself, and you. You have the contact data from our webpage. Okay.
Yeah, guys, just to give you, one more. You asked me to break it down. I will tell you basically my pain point that I was solving at that time. Here I am. Here I was let's say a CEO of Varamar. I had many brokers working daily and really stuck to their computer screens. What happens today is they can come in, depending on what trade lane they work in, they just turn on the filter, and instead of spending their whole day reading emails, they can now spend the whole day talking to clients and meeting, because with one click they can see, okay, here are all the cargoes that I received, or all my offices received, all my colleagues received throughout the day, 24 hours. That's it. Now I have to just make sure I offer on them, and that's it. I don't have to read all the email flow anymore.
Yeah. Right. Okay, any other questions for the moment? That doesn't seem to be the case. So once again,
yes, we are already in over 1 hour on this call, so maybe
yeah, but once again, I'm really suggesting that everybody logs into the system, have a look, ask questions. If you have any questions, you can anytime either contact Shipnext directly or go through us. Of course, doesn't matter. But I think from this small example, you already saw, I mean, just taking this small example that we were just going through, needless to tell you what amount of work and time this is saving all of us going this way rather than, as I said in the very beginning, sending out 20 emails to 20 different brokers or owners or whatever. It's a real time and at the end of the day, money savior. And let's not forget, in many cases, you will be simply much faster than your competitors. And time matters, as we all know. Okay, so